you got to become elite at your thing, right? If you're going to be selling homes in the high desert, talking to buyers and sellers, go become elite in the high desert. Don't go do, work in the high desert and start a YouTube channel and create a course and do this and do that. You're not there yet. You've got years, you got miles to put on. Alrighty, folks, it is time. It is time to ask Omar some hard questions. As you know, if you've been watching his playlist, he is an entrepreneur through and through. I am an employee, maybe a good investor, but certainly not an entrepreneur. I want to ask him one question only on January 2nd, and that is, Omar, if you had a goal of making $1 million as an entrepreneur this year, how the heck would you get after it? Because $1 million, it's a big number. It's a goal lots of people have. And I don't think a lot of people understand how entrepreneurs think. So Omar, you're going to make $1 million this year. How do you do it?
Wow, that's a big question. Well, I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability based on what I've done.
Correct.
Okay, because I can't advise you on anything else except with what I've done. Now clarification: $1 million in equity net worth or $1 million in earned income, because that's totally different thing.
See, I like how you think. Let's just do earned income. A lot of people want to make $1 million, which, oh, by the way, as Gary Vee points out all the time, would put you in the top 0.5 percentile of Americans, right? I think if you make 480 grand, you're in the top 1%. So you're going to double that. You're going to have a top line income number of $1 million. How do you do it?
Perfect. Okay. First of which, anybody that wants to make $1 million has to know what's it going to take. You have to reverse engineer it. What's it going to be per month? What's it going to be per week? What's it going to be per day? And $1 million is $2,740 a day. And the reason I know this is because that was one of my goals. And how did I break that down? Obviously, because I've been in this game for a little while, and I removed the equity portion of it as a property holder, as a renter, or as a landlord. But in sales, and just in our industry, real estate sales, representing buyers, representing sellers, and then occasionally you start flipping property, not immediately, okay? Because what that does, that gives you an infusion of of capital. So then you're able to do it again. Now, is it going to be hard for someone to make $1 million in real estate sales? Yes, because your demographic where you live is going to dictate a lot of that. If your median home price is $400,000, which mine is, you got to sell a lot of properties to make $1 million in commissions. And let's do the math, because this is going to be somewhat of an education for you all. So if it's a $400,000 house and you make a 2.5% commission on it, figure that you might make 3, but then you have a broker that's going to take a little bit, or your expenses and stuff like that. You're going to be left with $10,000, right? 2.5% of the 400K, $10,000. So now $10,000. How many of those deals do you have to go do to make $1 million?
100.
That should be simple math, right? 100.
Okay.
So can you go to a market and go sell 100 houses? No. I'm sorry, you're new in the business. You will not sell 100 homes.
No.
I don't care where you go.
Right.
Okay. So then knowing that, say, all right, well, can you at least attempt to potentially? Okay. That's one deal. Now, in a quarter, 3 months, what you're going to want to do is, exhaust the avenues of every person that you know in the real estate business. Okay. Or that's friends, family, people that you might know, your neighbors, knock doors. I mean, you're going to be working, because I don't know how else to make $1 million by not working.
Right.
And doing the work and knowing your buy box, right? I kind of digressed a little bit about the buy box aspect of it, because you still have to know who is your avatar when it comes to buyers or sellers. Okay. And if you're not in the business yet and you're not new, you're not a veteran, sorry, you're going to go represent as many buyers as possible to get some confidence. Then you're going to go and represent some sellers. get more confidence. And then the minute you start understanding, like, oh, okay, I can make some money, then maybe you team up with someone like myself or somebody else that flips property and bring a deal to someone to go make yourself an $8, maybe 3 or 4 times that $10,000 check of a commission. You still pepper those around your year, and then it might average out to that 2740 a day. Is it likely? No, it's not. So to be honest, Michael, as an entrepreneur, you have to do, like, that's one avenue, right? But then you're going to have to go do something else to increase some more money, and then something else to increase some more money, because most millionaires do not have one source of income. And I don't have one source of income. And I didn't make my first million with one source of income. It wasn't just real estate sales. It was real estate sales plus flipping and occasionally some cash flow from houses, as that increases. So to answer your question, that's such a big question that it's so hard to answer correctly, because there is no right answer. It's what you're wanting to do in your business, whether it's real estate lending, if it's just flipping completely, or you're a hard money lender or something, you still got to go create. You still got to go develop relationships. And there isn't a perfect formula. What's crazy is that there is no perfect plan. You just got to make that one plan perfect.
Yeah, what I'm taking from this conversation is so helpful. One is, it's hard to do. First. Second, what I heard you talk about, something I say all the time, do the work, right? If you're going to go. Don't be half committed. Don't, sit down and just whine and cry. Get out, meet everyone. Next, really what I heard you talk about is you have to have the ability to take a lead and convert it to the best use or best way of, maybe it is a listing. Maybe it's a wholesale. Maybe it's a flip. Maybe it's a referral. Like, one of the things you could do as an agent, if you got a bunch of, if you're selling a home in, the high desert, and they're buying something in, Vegas, go get a referral fee, right? You have to find every avenue to create, as you called it, multiple income streams. What I would tell people to do is you got to get focused on your thing, right? In this case, it's learning your market. You call it a buy box. I love that. Your avatar. And then what you do is you take the leads and you find all the ways to monetize the leads. And
100%.
I love how you broke it down to it. Hey, it's $2,400 a day. $2,400 a day.
2740.
Or 2740, sorry. Let's call it 2,800. 2,800 a day. And that's just how you do it, right? If that's your goal of making $1 million, the math is the math. It's frightening today how many people argue with the math. Math isn't right or wrong; it just is. And the other thing I think you said that I want to go back to is you got to become elite at your thing, right? If you're going to be selling homes in the high desert, talking to buyers and sellers, go become elite in the high desert. Don't go do, work in the high desert and start a YouTube channel and create a course and do this and do that. You're not there yet. You've got years, you got miles to put on to go do it, to go get your first 30 sales, to get your first 3 flips, to get your first 4 referrals. I think a lot of people come into this game watching what you and I are doing today, and they don't appreciate the 20 years we already put in. Right?
True. That's something that everybody, like, oh, I can do it now, my first year, and what he took 20 years. And you know what? With technology, maybe eventually it could be like we can cut 7, 8 years, but
yeah, maybe.
I don't know about 20,
No, that's disrespectful to me and you, and frankly to them, right? It's not easy. Anything in life worth doing is not easy. It's kind of how the system works. So what year in the business, this ought to be fun. What year in the business did you first crack $1 million? How many years in the business? Top line.
How many years in the business?
Yeah, because I'm guessing
Ooh,
you didn't do it
okay.
your first year.
No, God, no. I think it was, all right, so 02, 2020, no, 02, 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I want to say it's 12 years in, 12 to 13 years
Of
later.
consistent effort, getting up, not doing anything else, putting your head down, and you just kept going.
That the biggest word too is sacrifice. Um,
Tell me
there's
more.
a lot that most people aren't willing to do so.
Yeah.
Um, and if they are, they do it for a little while. They do it for one season.
Yeah.
And then one season could, that could change a lot of stuff for you if you did sacrifice for one full season. But life is not a season. Life is many seasons. And in
Mm-hmm.
this business, 12, 13 years in, there was no social media. There was just books and, Thomas guides, areas that we had to go knock on doors and get stuff from our title companies to find out who's in default. There was no type of technology that we can go look up property and we can, and they can tell us that they're in foreclosure. None of that stuff was around. So it's like you had to do the work, right?
Yeah.
Now it makes it so much easier so you don't have to do the work, but then you want the same results that people that did do the work. So that's a lot, and I'm just one person. Obviously,
Yeah.
this is my perspective, my opinion on this, but I didn't make that first million until probably 12, 13 years, 14 years. I would say 2015, 16. Yeah, no, actually it was 2014.
Mm.
And that's when 2014, 15. And then when I bought my first big investment for myself, my big house,
Mm.
when I had my house paid for, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's time. And that's when I bought a $500,000 house. At the time, I was like, how am I going to do it? And I was
Yeah.
already a millionaire,
Yeah.
but I wasn't there yet mentally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
And
I mean, you had been grinding
it,
for so long. I mean, your dad's a big part of your life. We've
yes,
talked about his story, just always working, just
yeah.
doing it. It's you are your father's son, and it took 12 years, right? So, job well done. Again, making $1 million in a year is hard. It is possible. Um, Typically not done in the first year. In Omar's case, it took 12, but it's well worth the effort, right?
It is, but I will tell you this. Right now, it's easier to make $1 million within the first 2, 3 years, providing you are around other people that are millionaires. I was not
Mhm.
around anyone that was a millionaire. No one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I couldn't ask questions. I had to resort to like, hey, what do you do here? What do you do there? And then some people were not, forthcoming and giving information. Now, shit, they can go to our channel,
Yeah.
Michael. They can go to our playlist and get all kinds of shit for free.
Yeah. No
And
joke.
this
No joke.
was not around, so big difference. So right now you can cut that curve. Just be around the right people and get in the right rooms.
We are going to make that video number 2 because it is the right thing to talk about. Omar, before we go to video number 2, how can they find you if they want to join your team, ask questions, see what's what?
Guys, follow me on IG at Invest with Omar, and give it some love. There's some cool reels, some cool content there to help you guys out. Just wait. 2024, there's going to be a lot more education coming out.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much.